have a 2016 Hyundai Veloster. Alright guys, today we have a 2016 Hyundai Veloster. We are replacing the brake pads, but I'll also show you guys how to remove the rotors. First set of tools that you're going to need is a spreader tool to spread the caliper or something like that. You are going to need a ratchet and an impact, because some of these things are torqued down. So first things first, guys. So there's two bolts located, one here and one at the bottom over here, and that is the first step to getting these off. So we're gonna take these down, take them off, and these are two 14mm bolts that you're gonna have to remove. So there's one at the top, one at the bottom. Right. So now that you have that off, I'm gonna set that right there. Try not to put too much tension on that cord. So now we have one of these. And we're gonna mount this up a little bit. So now we can set this to the side, hang it up, that way there's not too much tension on the line.
I had a bunch of these.
Really?
I had different colors, that way if you used the gold ones, we knew that you had the gold ones and they had the yellow ones. And
I think that's yours.
yeah. I had yellow, orange, red, black, gold.
Of these?
Yeah.
There's more. I've seen them hang up and stuff.
Yeah, there should be a bunch of those. There should be like 5 sets.
They come in handy.
Oh, I know.
And then there's 2 pins here that you have to remove. They just kind of come out.
Those two.
I'm about to start posting everything on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
It's 360.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So now you're fine. So now this, I can edit it. These come out like this. Alright. So remove the old pads. You may or may not need stuff like this, just depending on how much debris and stuff is on your brake pads itself. But if you need to, you could use a small pry bar to kind of get them out. So now that we have them both removed, all right, so set those to the side, set these to the side, I'll go record. All right guys, so now we have the new pads. Like I said, to remove the rotors. So what you would do is, there's 2 more of these bolts here. There's one right here, and there's another one on the bottom. Those are a little bit bigger, they're different size. You'll have to remove those. This will come off and your rotor will be freed. There is one Phillips head screw right here on the rotor that will have to be removed before the rotor itself is removed. But anyways, so now that we're this far, you guys want to replace these clips. Over the time they just go bad, and make sure if you buy the new brakes, you have one that comes with the clips, because a lot of them don't, and they won't tell you about that. All right. Miguel, ¿sabes dónde está grease? All right, guys, and one last thing I forgot, I believe last thing, is grease. You guys are gonna need some grease. They have special grease, synthetic caliper grease. Typically this is the one that we use here. Okay, so now you want to put these back. I don't know if you guys can see, but they actually, you push it up and then it just clips on. Just make sure they're seated well, because your brakes pads will only be as seated as good as these, and you don't want something bad to happen. And for the bottom, it's the same. So for the rear, faces for the top, faces towards the top. For the bottom, faces towards the bottom. And like I said, it just clips in. All right, so guys, now the next step in this process for this Veloster is you got to grease this up. You don't want your brakes to squeak, you know. Grease these up real good, and as well as the top. All right, guys, now that that is greased up, now we'll move on to the next step, and that is basically inserting the brakes itself. So obviously the curved part of the brake pad itself, remember that it always goes with curved with the rotor. So that's how you know you won't put them on backwards that way. And when you're doing this, you always want to make sure that all the pads are either the same or they're not, and you differentiate which ones go on which side. So front, no clip, smooth finish. Rear, it has this clip, squeaker clip. So we're gonna mount the rear brakes pads. Go. All right, now as far as for the front one, it's just like the rear. Line it up, click it on, and it should just clip right in. Bam. So it's very important now. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to put your bracket back on without this. Okay, so what we do is we're actually going to close this up, the spreader tool. Give you guys back some. All right, so this here. A lot of times it's good to have something like this where you could just stick your bolts and stuff to, that way you don't lose them. I'm gonna take one of these old pads. Well, yeah, these old pads. So you stick this on in here, and then you put it to, obviously, to the mode, the setting to where it spreads, and you just want to spread it. So what you're ideally trying to do is push this out so that it's fully pushed in. That way you'll have space, and I'll show you just a second. So I'm just gonna keep tightening nothing there. All right, so now that we got that fully opened, as you can see, all right, close these back up. All right, now guys, okay guys, so now basically we can put this back on. I am going to spray this with some brake cleaner to get some of the residue off first. So, your average brake cleaner. So, brake cleaner. Spray that piston some. So before you put that, while that's drying, we're gonna go ahead and put these on. They literally, there's little holes in the side of the pad itself, and one goes in one goes in the other, pointing down, so the V is pointing down. All right. And you also want the pin on the bottom. And what these do is they spread the brakes off of the rotor itself so it doesn't burn it up. So now, okay guys, so now that we got it pretty much cleaned up a lot better. Oh, one more thing before it's too late. Almost forgot. One more thing. We're gonna grease these slider pins just a little bit. You don't want those to freeze up. Alright, so now take these. So this goes on there exactly how I set it on. And it should be pretty easy to get on. Just lined up. Then I'll take my screw. Okay guys, and I did use I didn't use a 1/2 inch, but I used a 3/8 drive impact to remove these bolts because sometimes it's very difficult. But to put them back on, you guys do not want to do that. I'd hate to see one of you guys, you know, strip your bolts or run into some trouble. So today we're gonna use one of these. So, on. Focus a little bit. So we're just gonna tighten this up, get these on. You want to put them pretty tight. Bottom one, let's get this on a little more. Alrighty. Okay guys, so that is pretty much, that is it. So now of course you put your wheel back on, and what you want to do, you guys want to always be safe, is before you take off with the car, you need to test it, pump up the brakes, make sure all that is done. But that's about it. And thank you guys for watching Sojo.